Hello, and welcome to Bubble Hearthing. I'm Bubble, and today we're going to be talking about Ikoria, Lair of Behemoths. In particular, the green cards. In particular, this portion of my face. Anyway. But yes, thank you for coming by. I'm going to be reviewing all the green cards, just mono green, in this video. And let me know what you think. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to be reviewing them mostly from a standard point of view and a limited point of view. If something really strikes me as like modern playable, I might talk about it, but I've played about not much of modern, maybe a little bit, just coincidentally, because cards rotate out, and I was like, eh. But yes, largely about that. So without further ado, let's see what we got. By the way, beautiful artwork here, just beautiful, I love it. Adventurous Impulse. You pay 1 green for a sorcery, look at the top 3 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. Now I do believe, and I know I'm just checking this right now, being silly right here. Adventurous Impulse, because I am definitely doing this professionally. Yes, this is absolutely a reprint. Cool. Dominaria... Mystery Booster. Yeah, it was in Dominaria. Cool. And I believe it may have seen some play there, but currently we have a card called Bond of Flourishing, I believe. It's the one in a green, and you look at the top 3 cards, and you gain some life. So it costs 1 more mana, basically, and you do essentially the same effect. And that sees 0 play. It saw a little blip of play when people were like, mono green Tron is a thing. And then it wasn't a thing. So for that reason, I think this card is going to see 0 play in standard. In limited, let's see, look at the top 3, reveal a creature or land. They go into the bottom of your library, so it's not too bad. In limited, actually, I think in standard would be better if you went to the graveyard and it might actually see some play. I'll give it like a 1. I'll give it a 2 out of 5 limited, because maybe you just really want to get those cards. Let's see, moving onwards. Oh my god, this might be my favorite card for the set. Not for anything except for the fact, everyone, we now have Brushwag Tribal. All your changelings are now Brushwags. By the way, interesting note, changelings can never mutate. Flavor-wise, makes no sense. But yeah, because they're also humans, therefore you cannot mutate changeling. Anywho, the almighty Brushwag, look at that, it knows it's something. It's like, yeah, I know I'm tough shit. Anyway, hot shit, tough shit, whatever. For 1 green, you get a 1/1 trample. Yeah, because that's the thing. But you can pay 3 in a green, and it gets +3/+3 until on a turn. It's a weird kind of shade effect on a green creature. Self-buffing, which kind of makes sense. Pardon me there. I'm just drooling over this Brushwag. Oh my god, look at this thing. Laughed at the Brushwag. Hunter's expression meaning died unexpectedly. Yeah, don't laugh at the Brushwag. Brushwag demands your respect. In all seriousness though, standard 0 out of 5. Limited 2 out of 5? It's okay. You can definitely mutate on top of it and buff it if you want to. If it's later in the game, it has trample. You pay this for 4 mana later on, you have a 4/4 Trampler, which is something worth note. Alright. Auspicious Starix. Cool. For 4 and a green, you get a 6/6. So 5 mana 6/6. In limited, we're already like at a 2 out of 5 level here. Alright, at least 2 out of 5. Maybe like 2.5. Whenever this creature mutates, exile cards from the top of your library and do exile X permanent cards, where X is the number of times this creature mutated. Put those permanent cards onto the battlefield. This is a very, very interesting effect. You could potentially try to make a deck. Well, keep in mind that permanents include lands. Therefore, you're gonna have a bad day, whatever, where you mutate this thing. Okay, I'm gonna exile, you know, the top cards until I hit, I'm gonna run into this huge creature, I'm gonna play it for free, or I'm gonna play this awesome enchantment or whatever, and the top card is Forest. Okay, cool. So I ramped. It comes in untapped. That's nice, but you really want to pay 6 mana to make a 6/6 and maybe ramp. But the more you mutate, the better the effect gets. Each time you do it, you look at more and more cards, and it just compounds. Compounds quite disastrously for your opponents. But then you get all your eggs in one basket, essentially. So in that sense, I'm going to give this 2.5 out of 5. I don't think the effect is really worth all that much. but the fact that it's just a 5-mana 6/6 is pretty good in limited. Standard 0 play, because this effect is not very good in standard. There are other cards that do it better. Don't ask me what they are. I don't know what they are, but I know that this effect is not worth the mana cost. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's a really strong. Don't ask me. I can't tell you the answer, but I just know they're there. There you go. I'm gonna leave it to you, and it's until proven stupid. Anyway, barrier breach. Through the breach, and then there's Emrakul. All right. For 2 and a green, instant speed, exile up to 3 target enchantments. Cycling 2. So this is definitely a sideboard card in standard. Limited, I think it's worth about nothing. I'm gonna, even though it has cycling, which usually gets at least a 1, the fact that it is only enchantments and there's no enchantment creatures here, or at least not that I know of, 0 out of 5 for limited. And oddly enough, I'm gonna say like a 1 out of 5 in standard, because maybe it sees some sideboard play. There were plenty of enchantment creatures. There were plenty of just enchantments going around. And the fact that it exiles and doesn't destroy means it can hit gods. It can hit Anax and not have it make little tokens spitting out somewhere. It can hit whatever you want and not have it be whatever you don't want. If there's anything else indestructible that works around it. And for 3 mana, you hit 3 things. That's really good value. And say this is the game your opponent didn't draw Anax. Cool. Pay 2, draw another card. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5 just because of that. I hesitate to give it more than that because there might just be better answers. Like, we still have Return to Nature, which just gives you more options, and Naturalize, which can hit, you know, Embercleave. So that's the thing. But there has potential. Bristling Boar reprint. I know I'm saying reprint. There's probably like 5 reprints that I already got by me, even though I'm only like 3 cards in. But anyway. 3 and a green for a 4/3. It can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. I actually drafted this quite a bit in on Arena, and I was just underwhelmed with this card. So even though it's okay, I'll give it like a 2 out of 5 in limited. Standard 0 playability. There could be some added value by the fact that you can mutate with it, and then the other creature can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. It's like the opposite of Menace. But never think that this is like, oh, it's a 4/3 and I kill your creatures continuously, because you have to trade up with it, right? Because what has 4 toughness is more so what has 3 power, and you're gonna have a hard time making this worth it. So it'll be good for like 1 or 2 turns, and that's it. So yeah, 2 out of 5. All right. Charge of the Forever Beast. Oh my god. Oh, it's been forever. I feel like Charge of the Forever Beast just means that it takes forever to get there. It's like a sloth. Yeah, that's the Forever Beast. It's charging. It's escaping things at like 1 mile an hour. It's gonna get you. Anywho, 2 and a green for a sorcery as an additional cost to cast this spell. Reveal a creature card from your hand. Not too many effects. Or not too many spells just say I have a cost like that. Pardon me. I mean, if you do. It's not unheard of, but it's just been a little while, and I like it. I like the fact that this thing's coming back. Charge of the Forever Beast deals damage to target creature or planeswalker equal to that the revealed card's power. So you reveal a big guy, say, hey, for 3 mana, I'm gonna punch you in the face. The important thing to note is that it cannot actually punch you in the face. It targets a creature or a planeswalker. The fact that it says planeswalker is largely irrelevant in limited, because there are only 3 planeswalkers and they're all mythic again. War of the Spark, eat your heart out. But still, a 3 mana punch you thing that can scale up pretty well isn't a fight effect. It's actually just like, it can scale higher, because for fight effects like Prey Upon and Rabid Bite, the creature has to be in the board already. It's like, I just want these 2 people to hit each other. If the other one's like, look what I got, big guy. I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5 in limited and a 0 out of 5 in standard, because if you're trying to kill planeswalkers, you're probably just gonna be running, especially with like, I mean, okay, the fact that Broko or whatever the hell the card is in the background doesn't mean you're running Sultai. But if you are, you have better ways to kill planeswalkers. There are better ways to kill planeswalkers. Moving on. Colossification. Oh, it's the biggest cat. All right, let's see. So 5 and 2 green for an aura. When it enters the battlefield, you tap the enchanted creature, and then it gets plus 20. Plus 20. Yes, you could play this with your jellyfish that we saw in the blue review, and then untap it, and then if you can attack, then you can attack, but that's a total of 9 mana you're putting down in 1 turn. To play this, then untap, and then attack. Then it's a flying, like, 21, 23, I believe the jellyfish was 1-3. Something Glimmerbell, I think it was called. So that's a possibility. In limited, I'm gonna give this like a 3 out of 5, just because, even though it costs a lot, guess what? Your opponent has to answer this now, because it is at least a 20/20, which is huge. Which is really, all things considered, 2020 is not that great, you know? I mean, we've had better years. Anyway, but moving on from that, 2018. So why don't I start with this damn gorilla? No, but in standard, 0 play. In limited, though, I'm gonna give it like a 2 out of 5. Maybe like a, no, not a 2.5, 2 out of 5. It presents a threat that your opponent has to answer. It doesn't do it in the best way for you, because it taps your creature and it's an aura, so it's gonna 2 for 1, you know, in the bad sense of the word. But if they don't have an answer for it, you win the game, right? Cool. All right. And to be fair to myself, an answer could involve going wide and attacking around the creature. I'm just gonna say that. As in Symbiote. 1 and a green for a 2/2. Okay, look at that. It's a little cuddly bear. It's a squirrel bear. It's a beast. Whenever a creature you control mutates, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature, and you gain 2 life. Standard 0 play. Limited, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Adding the counter on it is actually pretty nice, because usually you might think of mutate as like, you get some stats and you get like +1/+1 for like 4 mana. It's like, oh, that's not some stats. You get some abilities, and you know, you get a slight stat boost. So giving it a little extra there actually really is nice. So in limited, I'm gonna say like 2.5 out of 5. If you have enough mutate things, 3 out of 5. If you have at least, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 mutate creatures, then 3 out of 5. Maybe I'm being a little lenient, a little heavy, I don't know, but that's my opinion. I'm going with it. 6 or 7. That's what you need. Otherwise, it's 2 out of 5. Okay. Excavation Mole. It's the mole. I don't know what that is, but it's the mole. So 2 and a 1 for a 3/3. Okay, 3 mana 3/3. Sure. Trample. Cool. When it enters the battlefield, put the top 3 cards of your library into the graveyard. So it's a 3 mana 3/3 trample, and largely the other effect doesn't really matter too much, because it might not do much. If you have Brokos, feel free to do that. If you have any sort of reanimation, if you're running black, then go ahead and run this card. If you don't have either of those 2 things and you just want a 3 mana 3/3 trample, go right ahead. It's fine. In standard, it's going to see 0 play. There are better ways to put cards in your graveyard. In limited, it's okay. Maybe a 1 of. So for that reason, like a 1.5 out of 5. That's it. Maybe like a 2 out of 5. Maybe those things. Exuberant Wolf Bear. It's a thick ass boy. Anyway, that's a damn boy. You thick. Okay, so too late for that? No, too soon. Too soon. Look at that, ahead of my time. All right, 3 and a green for a 4/4 wolf bear. Good old chunker right there. Whenever Exuberant Wolf Bear attacks, you may change the base power and toughness of target human you control to Exuberant Wolf Bear's power and toughness until end of turn. So when this attacks, you can make a human you control a 4/4. I don't like it. I mean, it's a 4 mana 4/4, so I'm gonna say like 2 out of 5 limited, because just as you get more things, it's better. You know, a 4 mana 4/4 is better than a 2 mana 2/2 in most circumstances, just because bigger is better. Standard 0 play, limit. It's weird limited. Like, okay, you can attack with this. I guess ideally you attack with this and the human, and then they're both 4/4s, which isn't too bad, because it reminds me of that one, geez, there's like a white creature in Theros Beyond Death. When it attacked, it basically had like the Gideon effect and makes the things 4/4 and indestructible. The fact that it doesn't make it indestructible kind of hurts a little bit, and it has to be a human, so got it. There was a fly buzzing around. I got it. No big deal. I just, it's little victories. But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a 2 out of 5 in limited and 0 out of 5 standard. Now we have Frutilid. Frutilid. Fertilid. You ever just say a word enough times so it just loses its meaning? Fertilid. Yeah, no, I don't care. Okay, cool. 2 and a green for a 0/0. It just dies. Enters the battlefield with 2+1/+1 counters on it. So a 3 mana 2/2. It's bad. For a 2 mana, and you remove a +1/+1 counter from it, you do this. Target player searches their library for a basic land card, puts it into the battlefield tapped, then shuffles their library. That sounds bad. So not only do you get a creature with bad stats that gets weaker, but you search your library for a basic land card, not even just any land. Like, for that cost, I could kind of stretch it to maybe not a basic land. It comes in tapped, and your creature gets weaker. You can only do it 2 times unless you proliferate a little bit. Yeah, I think this card is a solid 0/5 in both formats. Maybe if it didn't say basic land, it might be overpowered, because you play this turn 3, turn 4, you search 2, like, you know, big lands that have huge effects. Maybe not Field of the Dead. Maybe, you know, there's other formats where, like, you know, Valakut and whatnot. So that could be actually a little overpowered in that sense. But I do not like this card at all. Therefore, 0/5, both ways. But you can proliferate and then just keep getting land forever. Yeah, but you can just Risen Reef and Flicker and stuff and play elementals and just get the effect. Alright, Flycatcher Giraffe. Sure, 4 and a green. I see nothing wrong with this. Flycatcher, that was me. I just got the fly. I feel you. Alright, anyway, 4 and a green for a 3/5. Flycatcher Giraffe enters the battlefield with your choice of a vigilance counter or a reach counter on it. In limited, this is like a 2.5 out of 5. It's a little better. It's still 5 mana, 3/5 isn't great, but the fact that it can add vigilance is kind of nice, solid blocker. And if your opponent hasn't really gone too far, you can just keep going. There's a decent chance there are going to be some flyers going around, so just having something to block flyers is really nice. Standard 0/5, but yeah, it's fine. I would run one of these probably just in case to... If you don't have enough flyers in your deck, I would run one of these. If you have enough flyers, don't really worry about it. It just covers the errors for you. Alright, fully grown. Look at this. Oh my god, look at this thing. Look at this critter. Alrighty, 2 and a green. Target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn, and you put a trample counter on it. So nice little combat trick in limited. In standard, it's useless. But in limited, it's nice that, you know, I mean, usually giant growth, just a single green, +3/+3. So you're paying an extra 2 mana to give it trample forever. It's just okay. I think you could definitely run like 2 of these in limited and not feel bad about it at all. Excuse me. Because it saves your creature and it makes it stronger in the later run. And even in the instance where it just goes through like 1 iteration or whatever, if you get the trample to go through, then it's actually a +3/+3 and damage to your opponent. So it also works as like a pseudo burn spell in that sense. So I like it, yeah. What did I say? 2.5 out of 5 in limited, 0/5 standard. Gem Razor, hey, if you've ever seen the Ikoria, like, you know, the standard background thing, this is the guy. He's all like, "Wah!" Except these are his horns. Wah! Anyway, let's see. So for 3 and a green, we got a rare beastie too. You get a 4/4 with reach and trample. Okay, so 4 out of 5 limited right off the bat there, because 4 mana 4/4 with 2 good words. Nice. Whenever this creature mutates, destroy a target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. That's more relevant in standard than it is in limited, because there's going to be a whole lot of creatures. This is a creature themed set, basically, all these big creature boys. But there are still some artifacts and enchantments, so there are going to be some value. There's going to be some value to that. Also worth noting, the mutate cost is cheaper, so you can kind of get this out a little bit quicker. A 3 mana 4/4 reach trample is nice. With that same effect, if like you need to get it done, if you need to have this thing like remove something to get the mutate effect to go off, it's pretty cheap. So yeah, this is really nice. Like I said, 4 to 5 limited in standard. Will this see any play? And something that was mentioned and I think is relevant is, does this compare at, how does this compare with Questing Beast, which is another 4 mana 4/4 in green that has haste and vigilance and death touch, and this has 2 different keywords, reach and trample. I feel like those two are largely not very relevant. The fact that it has Naturalize attached to it potentially is nice, but I don't think it's super worth it. I'm gonna say maybe. I'm gonna give it a 1 out of 5 in standard. It might see some play. It just might, but I don't really think it makes the cut. Oh, sorry, spoilers. This is what it looks like. Oh no, here he is. Oh, look at him. Okay, moving on. There you go. I put the alternate artwork in there too, so I forgot it had an alternate thing, and now I feel bad if anyone was just like, oh, I didn't want to see that. I wanted to be surprised. I don't know. My friend was telling me not to look at anything. I avoided the internet for a week, and now you've ruined everything. Anyway, Glowstone Recluse. Ah, spiders. You know I love spiders. I hate green cards, but I love spiders, so you know, it's tricky sometimes. Arachnoid though, or arachnid, whatever it is. No, arachnoid. I think that's what it was. It's a colorless spider. Just saying. Anyway, 2 and a green for a 2/3 spider. It has reach, and whenever it mutates, put 2+1/+1 counters on it. That's not bad. So 3 mana 2/3 reach is standard fare, like a 2 out of 5 in a limited. Standard 0 playability. But yeah, and then you mutate onto it. It keeps the reach. It gets 2+1/+1s and maybe better stats, probably. That's pretty legit. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5 just for that, just because of the second ability. Excuse me. Which is also why the mutate thing is more expensive, because say then you pay 4 mana for a 4/5 reach. That can continue to grow. Yeah. Now we like it. Now we like this card quite a bit. Okay, yeah, 3 out of 5. Limited. Play the card. Alright, Greater Sandworm. I'm the worm. It's the worm. It's the worm. I'm a worm. I'm sorry. Tales of Redundancy. 7 mana, 7/7. Costs 5 and 2 green. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And cycling 2. Sure, yeah, if you have it, I feel like you should play it in limited, because there's a big thing that might not be able to get blocked. And if you can't quite get there, if you know you need an answer right now, then cycle it away. Absolutely. I'll give it 2.5 out of 5. I think I like it. I like quite a bit. Can't be chump blocked? Even better. It's almost like a trample kind of effect, because you can't chump block it, so you're either going to trade with something usually, you know, considerable, or you just get through. And in standard, no, it's not Palaka Worm, even though, you know, you can get rid of it to draw a card. So 0 out of 5 there, but, you know, I feel you. I feel where you're coming from. Honey Mammoth! Look at... It's actually a little terrifying. The trunk's all insectoid and everything. Oh my goodness. Okay, this is where spicy honey comes from, by the way, the Honey Mammoth. It produces it. It's not getting it from whatever, it makes it itself. Okay, so 4 and 2 green for a 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. 2 out of 5 limited and 0 out of 5 in standard. 6 mana 6/6 and you gain some life. Cool, can help you stabilize if your opponent's trying to rush you down. In limited. In standard though, no. Bop you on the nose. Alright, Hornbashed Mentor, but not this nose, because this nose is terrifying. 2 and a green for a 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, put a trample counter on target creature, on target non-human creature you control. So it's basically like a pseudo mutate kind of thing. It's like, I'm going to mutate you to get trample, because that's me a non-human creature. And then you can pay 2 and a green and tap it, and you buff all your trampley bamply dudes. Yeah, you know what? This is actually pretty good. 3 mana 3/3 with some more upside to it potentially. Nothing wrong with that. This is like a solid 3 out of 5 unlimited, because you continue to buff things afterwards, which is great. Standard, absolutely not. Get out of here with that nonsense. How Void Juice is this? It's fairly Void Juice. It's also fairly Gatorade. That's how you avoid gaining any weight. 0 calories if you're in front of a green screen, and just chroma keys out. Just completely free drinks. Anyway, but yeah, definitely like a 3, maybe even like a 3.5 out of 5 limited. Oh my goodness. Standard 0 playability though, but yeah, totally. I like this guy. Humble Naturalist. I'm just a humble naturalist. Here's my koala pig, and here's my parrot porcupine. For the record, that's like a cat peacock, but I don't know why I said koala pig, but I want to see a koala pig. I might Google that later. Who knows? Don't judge me. You don't know my life. Anyway, 1 and a green for a 1/3 human druid. You can tap it, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell. In limited, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. I think it's right in the middle there. There are big creatures. I believe you can definitely use this to cast a mutate thing because it's still a creature spell. It doesn't change the type of spell it is. It just changes like the way you cast it, but it's still a creature. So you cannot essence scatter a mutating thing, but you can... I said that incorrectly. You cannot negate a mutating thing, but you can essence scatter a mutating thing. My apologies there. So yeah, you can absolutely use this to help cast mutate things. So yeah, like I said, 2.5 there. It can block a few little things here and there. In standard though, there are better... Paradise Druid exists, and that can produce mana of any color. Incubation Druid exists that can produce mana of any color a land you control can make, which is hopefully going to be, you know, what you need. So because of that, sure, you can argue that, well, Paradise Druid only has 1 health, and this has 3. Yeah. But Paradise Druid's better. It has hexproof, so it's at least going to get you there for that 1 turn, probably, unless they have a sweeper. So, in that sense, maybe, I'm going to give it like a 0.5. The first ever, I believe. 0.5 out of 5 for standard. Because maybe this sees some kind of sideboard play where you can put it in against red to block things. I think it's an aggressive deck to kind of like chump things, and then I'm going to ramp with it, and then I ramped with it, so it's now tapped, but I had a bigger creature out there. Don't like it. Ivy Elemental, X and a green for a 0/0. Ivy Elemental enter the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So however much you pay total, you get 1 less of that in stats. You get a 5 mana 4/4. Or an 8 mana 7/7. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it like a 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 in limited, 0 out of 5 in standard. Sure, you can probably make infinite mana and then make a huge creature, but with infinite mana, wouldn't you rather just shoot your opponent in the face? No, I want to make a giant Ivy Elemental. Okay, cool. You do you. I guess if you wanted to, you could play this with like Risen Reef. You still have to pay the green though, but for 1 green, you can trigger its ability. Aren't there other just elementals you can play that are cheap that would do that? Yeah, don't do it for that reason. So yeah, 0 out of 5 in standard, but yeah, 2 out of 5 limited. If it was just X for an XX creature, it'd be 2.5 out of 5. According to me. That's what I think. All right, Kongla. This is not any kind of spoiler thing here. This is just the artwork. Just want to say, obviously King Kong. 3 and 3 green. For a 7/6, so 6 mana 7/6. Green stuff is good. Here's your green thing. I like it already. I'm gonna say it's a 3 out of 5 unlimited off that. When it enters the battlefield, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. 3.5 out of 5. Keep going. When it attacks, destroy target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Not incredibly relevant. I'm gonna keep it at 3.5 out of 5. Although I reserve the right to change my mind instantaneously. You can pay 1 on a green, return target human you control to its owner's hand. This can use 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5, yeah. Because in the limited format, you're gonna have a mix of humans and creatures, humans and non-humans. But you're gonna have some humans in there probably. And it isn't so picky about it. The fact that you can just bounce it and then next turn play it again, and then bounce it and just keep giving this thing indestructible. And it fights something to start off, and it destroys an artifact or enchantment when it attacks. You can also keep in mind you can, you know, use the last ability of it in response to the fighting thing, so you can get an indestructible fight in case there's something that has like death touch you want to get around. Yeah, 4 out of 5 limited. Are you kidding? Look at this guy. This guy's huge. This guy's amazing on the crystal. In standard, however, I don't like it. No. 0 out of 5 standard. Yeah. 0 out of 5 standard. Yeah. Wicked Wolf doesn't see any more play. And that was a nasty beastie that can get indestructible and fight things. And that's just kind of like a better version of this because it's cheaper. Just strictly because it's cheaper. And it buffs itself. So, yeah. But I love the flavor for that though. That's pretty good. Not as good as Sharknado, but it's still okay. Lead the Stampede. For 3 mana, you get Vivian on whatever that creature is. So there you go. That's it. That's the whole card. Vivian on a horse rhino. Okay, look at the top 5 cards or your library. You may reveal any number of creature cards from among them. And let's see. I just lost my track because I'm tired. I'm not gonna lie. It's like 3 in the morning. Anyway, you may reveal any number of creature cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. In limited, 3 out of 5 if you're running mostly creatures, which you should be, because what are you doing if you're not running creatures in a set that is about monstrous, huge creatures? Behemoths. Oh. Sorry, I just felt really strongly about that. Okay, so way back when Theros first came out and Bestow was an ability, there were some decks that were like literally like 30-something creatures. There were some decks that were only creatures and lands. There were some that ran like 4 of one other non-creature spell. So I'm thinking maybe that kind of deck can be a thing, because creatures with mutate, creatures with adventure, have things where you get around the fact that they're not creature spells, because creatures still have the effects of these other spells you'd be running anyway. Murderous Rider, as opposed to Eat to Extinction, that sort of thing. It's even cheaper. You just take some damage. So because of that, oh god, this is not a bad card at all. Any lands you get don't really work though, but still. It's risky, but I'm gonna say 2.5 out of 5 standard, which is pretty high. I think this is a legitimately good standard playable card. Not super broken, but I feel like it could see play around maybe like the tier 2, maybe tier 2.5 level, which is pretty damn good for a card, because a lot of things are kind of useless. Okay. Here we go. We had a little excitement there, didn't we? Look at that. We got a cool, almost standard. Look at that. Now we're going back down, I think. Yeah, we're going back down. Okay, cool. Migration Path. 3 and a green. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Put them into the battlefield tapped. Then shuffle your library. Cycling 2. So, actually, no, what am I talking about? Oh, no. Oh, I'm being silly. So, in limited, 1.5 out of 5. Ramping is okay, it's not really that great. Cycling is pretty cool, but I wouldn't just put this in there just as a cycle or ramp card. On 4 mana, if you had some cycle synergy, sure, there's some value there. Otherwise, no. In standard, Circuitous Route sees 0 play. I don't think giving Circuitous Route cycle will get to see any play, so 0 out of 5 standard. What did I say? 1 out of 5? 1.5 out of 5? In limited? Whatever I said for limited, 1.5 out of 5 is the thing. I don't know if it's at 1 or 1.5. Anywho, if I said 2, then oh boy, take that down a notch. Alright, Migratory Greathorn. 3 and a green for a 3/4. Whenever this creature mutates, search your library for a basic land card, put it into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. You know what? That's not too bad. I like this so much more than Migration Path. They're both migratory, so it works out. But you can just pay 3 and have that effect and have a 3/4 on the board. Hopefully, if you have something weaker on there, yeah, this is like a 2 out of 5 limited, sure. If you migrate on top of it, if you mutate on top of it, you still get the effect to ramp, which is fantastic. Cool. In standard, I don't see it happening. Maybe 1 out of 5 standard, because I mean, ramping there is nice, but then again, you still just have Fabled Passage, which does like a similar thing. It doesn't ramp you that much, but there's plenty of ramp already. I don't really think you need this for ramp. I'm gonna 0 out of 5 standard. No. This is not a standard card. There's Growth Spiral, there's Uro, there's Risen Reef, there's Cavalier of Thorns, there's Nissa. You don't need Migratory Greathorn to add to that list. So, there we go. Monstrous Step. I love the colors in this thing. Keep in mind, this is all just the ground, but it looks like a sunset. It's really nice. 4 and a green for a sorcery. Target creature gets +7/+7 until end of turn. Up to 1 other target creature blocks it this turn if able. Keep in mind, this is a sorcery speed, not instant speed. So you do this before you declare attacks, or you can just cycle it. However, it does make it so something has to block it. So it's sort of like a delayed fight effect that your opponent can still try to work around to a small degree. If it's worth noting here, although it's a narrow case, but with all these, vigilance and trample and, whatever, death touch and lifelink counters going on cards, then it could happen. If you say, my creature has to be blocked by your creature A, but creature B happens to have first strike and death touch for reasons, they can still block with whatever else they want to, which is one thing has to block. They can block with everything, they can block with just the one guy they said. And if their first strike death touch person is in there, you're not gonna make it. That's not good for you. It basically just says, hey, I'm gonna block anyway, and the thing that you said was gonna happen never really happened. So consider this basically just a fight effect that can still have your creature dead, even if it, even if it was supposed to be favorable. So not great there. Worth noting though, it does make something block it, and this is actually combat, so if it had trample, as opposed to regular, like, rabid bite kind of effects, where they just deal damage to each other, but there's no actual trample, there's no combat damage. This is combat damage, so trample would work, any other sort of combat dealing, drawing cards, whatever, that also gets triggered. So it could be an advantage there. And cycling for 2, sure, I mean, I would run this card, so I'd say 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5? 5 mana removal, though. That's what this is. This is 5 mana removal. 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Big removal, though. 1.5 out of 5. There we go. Set it on that. Standard 0. Otherwise, 1.5 out of 5. Moss Coat Goriak. I always saying you're such a Goriak, and you never really listen to me. Oh, I love this too, by the way. Goriaks are as stubborn and hardy as I'd expect of a large herbivore in a wetland habitat. But I never expected them to have such beautiful voices. It reminds me of the video with, like, the otters. Like, who knew otters had such beautiful voices? And there was just otters just being like, ah. But better than that, you're like, ah. And it was like singing, like, dubbed over it. Oh my god. So that's what I seen. I just imagine this, like, thing in an opera house. But 3 mana, 2/4 vigilance. That's what it is. That is what this creature is, and I am maneuvering a little bit just because I want to be a little more comfortable, because I've been doing this for, well, since before I had to watch. So let's see. They are stubborn, blah blah blah. I'm reading things because I read things. I give it like a 1.5, 1.5 out of 5 as far as limited goes. Standard 0 playability, but this is solid body there, and there's a chance that you can just poke, and it's not too bad. And vigilance is a nice keyword. I feel like goes unappreciated, underappreciated. Oh, here we go. Does this look familiar? Don't break it. Good, it came back. I was worried it was going to start the whole thing over again. So there you go. Mythos of Brokos. How you doing? Well, I'm pretty broco right now. Oh, damn. Alright, so 2 and 2 green. If blue and black was spent to cast this spell, search your library for a card. Put the card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. And then, regardless of how you cast it, return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. So, this reads as 4 mana, put 2 things from your graveyard into your hand. Have to be permanents, so sure. Keep in mind, we still have Golgari Finebroker, which does that and puts a creature into play. So it's looking bad in that sense. And it's also green-black. This is green, black, and blue. Blue is hardly... Blue is not a very difficult thing to splash in green. In fact, most things that are green and black include blue. Usually for Hydrocrisis, potentially for other things as well. Like Growth Spiral, also sometimes Thought Erasure and Euro recently. But let's see, so if you paid, the specific mana, you get the added bonus of getting a card from your library into the graveyard, and either getting that card to your hand, so it's a 4 mana tutor 1 and pick 1 from your graveyard, or if there's something you really want in the graveyard, if you're some kind of reanimator thing, then you can actually use that to just dump your creature off there. So in a specific deck, I feel this could be a 2 out of 5 in standard, given the specific case. However, keep in mind that reanimator effects cost like 1 more mana, so maybe you can make that work. Usually costs around 5. It can cost a little bit less, but usually it's around 5. In limited, however, I don't know how well you're going to be able to get this thing to work, but getting 2 permanents back from your graveyard isn't bad. With all these creatures going around, I'm actually going to give it a 2.5 out of 5 limited, because just getting them back is great. And if you happen to be Sultai, blue, green, and black, or have access to that color mana, then you just get to pick whatever card you want, which is awesome. Alrighty, Plummet. This card has been printed many times. And now we just add 1 to the tally. 1 on a green, destroy target creature with flying. 0 out of 5, both formats. But you gotta have the card. What would Magic be without Plummet? I don't even know. Alright, ram through. 1 on a green, instant speed, target creature control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. If the creature you control has trample, excess damage is dealt to that creature controller instead. worth noting here, well, this is a fight effect, you know, except it's one-sided fight, which is awesome, because sometimes the fight effects are they deal damage to each other, in which case, oh no, if you use a death touch or something, or if you buff yours, then it ruins it. But this is like, I'm gonna hit you. If yours is bigger, okay, well, then maybe you buff your creature, and, you know, this kind of goes to the wayside, but at least I keep my creature alive. And it's also like, almost like a green burn spell, which is kind of cool. And the fact that it's an instant too is really nice. The issue we have here in Standard is that it competes with Domri's Ambush, because Domri's Ambush buffs the card, and can also target Planeswalkers. So 0 out of 5 Standard. In Limited though, yeah, sure, get some extra damage in there, why not? Like a 1.5 out of 5. It's not great. You don't really have much you're gonna really get done. If you can already beat them in combat, then this is just gonna get them in combat. Sure, maybe they have a creature they're holding back that just keeps using its ability over and over again. That's really hurting you. I was like, oh, if I could only remove this damn thing, but they're not attacking with it, obviously, it's too valuable. So you use this to remove it. It's a very narrow situation, though, so yeah, 1.5 out of 5. Staying hydrated, though, that's a 5 out of 5 right there. That's a spicy meatball. All right. Sudden spinnerets. Suddenly, okay. Cost a green. Just 1 green. Anything that you can do for 1 mana or less deserves attention. Just throwing that out there. Anyway, target creature gets +1/+3 until end of turn. Put a reach counter on it. Untap it. Yeah, in Limited, I'm going to put this at a 2 out of 5. Standard 0 playability still. But the fact that you're doing all 3 things is very, very nice. It gets buffed a little bit. Cool, okay. It can probably make it survive some bigger hits, obviously. Maybe some sweepers or something, who the hell knows. You put a reach counter on it, now you have an answer to flyers, and you untap it, now you have an answer to whatever the hell you want for the turn. It's good. I actually really like this. Maybe it has a tap ability. You can just use this to untap it for 1 mana. The fact that it's 1 mana makes it a 2 out of 5. If it costs 2 mana, it would probably be a 1, maybe even just a 0.5, maybe 0, maybe useless. But the 1 mana cost slot is very significant. Okay, moving onward. Survivor's Bond. If an ox crossed an ape, you would have Survivor's Bond. Anyway, it's like an Animorph just didn't really make up his mind. It's like, I don't know, I'm gonna be one of these 2 things. Alright, 1 and a green. Sorcery, choose 1 or both. Oh, I can choose both. Oh, it makes me all warm and bubbly inside. Return target human creature from graveyard to your hand. I wasn't kidding about the bubbles. And or return target non-human creature from your graveyard to your hand. Standard 0 playability. We don't really use these kind of effects. And in Limited, I'll give it a 1.5 out of 5 there, because it's nice to get things back to your hand. It's not instant speed, so you do have to have the mana you spend during your turn. And you'll probably nearly be forced to run a mix of humans and non-humans. And the fact that you can get this just later on and probably get back whatever you want is good. So it's a decent late game card or like mid game card. And if you just use it to get back 1 creature, as long as it gets something done, you're okay with that usually. Thwart the enemy. I don't know why, I just feel like you should say thwart the enemy. I don't know, it's like some like command, like avast ye scallywags. I've been playing Sea of Thieves and it shows. 2 and a green for instant speed. Prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn by creatures your opponents control. So this card, there are some important things to note with the wording of this thing. This is not Root Snare. And I'm not just saying that because it costs 1 more than Root Snare. This only prevents damage your opponent's deal. Your opponent's creatures deal. Therefore, if you're in combat and you use this, their guys will still die. Yours are fine. Yours are good. Yours are in the clear. But theirs are all getting punched in the face, right? In addition to that, if anything has some sort of a ping ability, some sort of little Timmy kind of thing, an example would be better. Mayhem Devil, shut down. Called Familiar, shut down for the turn. If they're going to try to combo you out like that, it's not happening. Croc's a discard, and you know the 3. You still have to discard, but you don't take the 3 damage regardless of what kind of card you discard. Anything like that does not hit you, which is Gutter Snipe, shut down. Right, so this nearly guarantees you see 1 more turn, which is pretty nice considering, you know, a lot of times people can just sacrifice a bunch and get through whatever defenses you have with the Rakdos sacrifice deck. So that's kind of cool. That being said, I think it's a 0 out of 5 in standard. Unless we have some kind of combo, another thing similar to Reclamation where you can take multiple turns without seeing it happening. Then 0 out of 5 standard. And in limited, I'm gonna give it like if it was 2 mana, if it was Root Snare, I'd say 2 out of 5. Because that's okay. But considering what it is right now, there are gonna be games where this is a blowout, you know, whatever blocks happen. Okay, by the way, your creatures don't deal damage to me, so yeah, so I just had to make sure it was not just to your face and also to your creatures too. So all my things punch your guys and all the trades happen, but I actually don't lose anything. Yeah, as long as you're like everyone's aware of this card, it's going to be like a 1 out of 5. If people don't play around it, then it's like a 2.5 out of 5. That's just how it is. It's very, very swingy. It can be very, very swingy, so just be careful. If your opponent has 3 mana up and one of them's green and they're holding a card, watch out. All right, and I think this is definitely one of the last cards. Obviously, it's with the Titanith Rex. Look at this thing. I am now going to just insist that T-Rex stands for Titanith Rex, and these were real, and this is just historically accurate. 7 and 2 green for an 11/11 trample. Oh my goodness, 3 out of 5. When you cycle this thing, you can cycle it by the way, for 1 on a green. Put a trample counter on target creature you control. Oh, 3.5 out of 5? Why is it not bigger? Because 9 mana is a lot. 9 mana is a lot of mana, but 11 is a lot of damage. Therefore, big thing, if you don't answer this in a turn or two, you don't need to answer it anymore because you'll be dead. So there you go. Mystery problem solved, right? Mystery problem. That's what it is. Who knows what the problem is, but we fixed it. In standard, no. No. But in limited, oh hell yeah. I mean, you could, but potentially do this in standard. If you had any way to give it haste to reanimate it and such, then guess what? A big old 11/11 trample swinging at you is very significant. Is one of the larger stat lines we have. So that might be the only reason why, because it's a big thing, just because of sheer size. Otherwise, no. But damn, yeah. Oh, and I do believe, spoiler, alternate artwork, watch out, avert your gaze lest you see this beautiful thing. Oh god, yes, they did it. They really did it. That's why MIC isn't playing standard, just so you can say, I play this card. I'm really wondering, I'm gonna keep on going by the way, just so you know, you can look back again, but like when they play those alternate art cards, like, are they gonna have a lot of them in the actual paper magic and stuff? I mean, on Arena, sure, it'll look like, yeah, it's not. But actually holding onto the card and playing it, and the commentators being like, and then he plays Gojira, oh my god, whoa! Oh my goodness, no! And the opponent looks like thousands of fleeing Japanese. Anyways, alright, was that? No, it's fine. Alright, Vivian, Monsters Advocate. 3 and 2 green for a Planeswalker. That comes down with 3 loyalty. Well, on turn 5, you play someone with 3. That is concerning. That is concerning. It might not survive. You may look at the top card of your library at any time, and you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. So that's nice. It doesn't change the timing of it, so you still have to play it during a regular, you know, main phase kind of stuff. Unless it has flash, then you can play it whenever. But the fact that it has the pair of passives is very nice. +1, you make a 3/3. It has Oko written all over it just because, like, oh, 3/3 is a beast. Are you sure it's not an elk? Are you sure it's not an elk? I feel like it's an elk. I feel like an elk is a beast. Put your choice of a vigilance counter, a reach counter, or a trample counter on it. So the +1 is a protection kind of thing for it. You make a 3/3 vigilance, reach, or trample. If you're really worried, you probably make a reach because maybe they have flyers and they're protected on the ground and in the air. But then again, it's it's almost expected that your opponent is still going to be able to kill this thing the turn it comes down, or the turn after it comes down. So get your use out of it while you can. In the -2 ability, when you cast your next creature spell this turn. Oh, damn. Yeah, this is going to be tough. Search your library for a creature card with a lesser converted mana cost. Put it into battlefield, then shuffle your library. So it's nice, the fact that you just -2, play something, and get something slightly smaller, which is, like, fantastic. Imagine going, oh boy, is there really a great way to do this? Not really a great way to describe this because I didn't really think out too many things. If you're playing, does Bant run Dream Trawler? It does now. Imagine that you, I don't know, imagine you're playing this in Bant and you minus it and you play your Dream Trawler or whatever the hell the Dream Trawler Cloud Chaser, you know, the 6-mana Sphinx thing that just ends games. And oh, by the way, since I did that, I'm gonna, you know, -2, you know, and I'm gonna get Cavalier of Thorns out just for the hell of it. And then if I wipe the board, okay, cool, I'm gonna get Dream Trawler back because Cavalier of Thorns died. That's so good though. You can use that. You can use it to get out, I don't know, if you play other Cavaliers, you can use it to get out gods if you want to. It's decent in aggro because there's a lot of low creatures. But this is a 5-mana thing, so you don't really want to have 5. You don't really want to have anything above 4 at the very most in aggressive decks. So what it comes down to, this thing needs to, you need to be able to untap with this thing on the board already. How likely is that? I think I'm also completely ignoring the first ability. I think because of the first ability, this card will see play. I'm going to give it a unlimited. The fact that you can keep spitting out 3 3s is good. So unlimited, this is going to be a 3.5 out of 5. It's not a 4 out of 5. It's not a 5 out of 5. Yes, it is. It's a 4 out of 5. I'm just gonna keep thinking. Hold on now, because you can keep playing cards at the top, and you make them. If it doesn't die the turn it comes down, and you just keep making 3 3s, you just win the game, right? Yeah. 5 out of 5 limited, 5 out of 5 limited, that's it. Because you just keep pushing, you just keep plussing it, that's it. It gives your opponent a narrow window to respond because there's a 3/3 creature, and there's this thing with 4 loyalty. And you probably have another creature out there too. If they can't remove it in that turn, that's pretty much it. You basically lock up the game. So yeah, 5 out of 5. In standard, I'm going to say, I believe, not because I can tell what the potential is, but because I feel like it's, with this combination of abilities, I feel like it's really strong. I'm going to say 4 out of 5 standard. 4 out of 5 standard, 5 out of 5 limited. I think this card's amazing. I know that it costs 5, and that has low loyalty. I think it's fantastic. And if people just start playing Storm's Wrath all the time and killing the creature and killing the planeswalker and all that stuff, then you know what? You got me, but it's not being played too much right now. Then I called it. Ha! There we go. I saved that one, didn't I? Alright, Wilt. 1 and a green for instant speed, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Cycling 2. So, naturalize, but you can cycle it. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Limited, however, there's not a whole lot of artifacts or enchantments going around. So it's like a 1 out of 5 there, because targets are very, very slim. The only redeeming factor is you can cycle it. In standard, 3 out of 5, just because it replaces naturalize, like power creep much? Unless there's something I'm missing, which I don't think there is, then it's just better because you can cycle with it. There we go. And that's it. We're there. Okay. I'm trying to do better on time here, but time is what it is. So please, if you like this, if you didn't like it, let me know. Let me know if you agree, disagree, or if you have a favorite flavor of pie. I like pumpkin pie, personally. Apple pie is really good too. I like pumpkin pie though. So, yeah, feel free to leave a comment or something down below. You can click the like button if you liked it. You don't have to though. You can subscribe if you're feeling extra cheesy. Extra spiffy, cheesy, I don't know, however you're feeling. If you're feeling extra adventurous, there we go, we get tied to things, then feel free to subscribe. Also, feel free to check out my Twitch thing. I'm going to be playing some of the new cards when they come out, which is very, very soon. Depending on how long this video takes to upload very, very soon. So, yes, feel free to look out for that. Thank you very much. Good night, or good morning, depending on where you are in the world. But as always, good luck.